Potter films, Mr. David Barron. He played the character Scabior, Mr. Moran. Playing the part of Viktor Krum, Stanislav Ianevski. And you know, you love him, he played the character Filch, Mr. David Barron. How has it been seeing the actual wizarding world of Harry Potter as a physical presence, not just a set?
Well, I was thrilled to see it because on set we have things built, but they're not completely built as it's over here. And being able to go and ride the dragons and the hippogriff and all that, we didn't get to do this on set. So, well, we've been having quite some good time, and this is the reason I'm feeling a bit sleepy now.
David, how's your experience been here this weekend, sir?
Well, it's my first time in Florida, and well, you just said it, it's so friendly and everybody's been great, really well looked after, some lovely people, and we were taken around the Wizard World yesterday, and it was just brought the whole place back to life again, the whole experience of as you just said, when you're in the studio, you don't see the streets and the aisle, or the turrets of the castle, or a lot of it's done on blue screen, CGI, and so it was just going to go on the virtual ride was incredible. And but the best thing for me was seeing Filch's Emporium.
Fantastic.
I was going in there and I was some kids like, you first? I said, yeah, get out, spotlight, boy.
All right, well, thank you very much. We're going to open the questions to the floor now. I believe we're going to start with Ryan. Ryan, who do you have with you, buddy?
Thanks, Scott. We have Emily and Laura from Texas.
Hi there.
Hi, thank you so much for everything that you all have done. Our question is, if you could make any spell or object real, what would it be?
If you could make any object or spell real, what would it be?
All the spells actually would be really useful. I think either a stunning spell or Petrificus Totalis, because I'm quite small and quite scared of aggressive people, and so it would be a very useful thing to be able to do.
All right, fantastic answer. Nick?
Well, I would have said, flying on a broomstick, but the ride was so good last night, I sort of feel like I've done that. But I like the idea of having a bag in with an infinite amount of things in. But I know also for sort of girlfriends and wives, because when you're lugging their luggage about, there's a few people that can do with one of those bags.
All right, Stan?
Since I love animals, I'll probably get them a new pet. That would be my dragon.
All right. David, could you possibly think of any object or spell that you would think that would be useful for yourself?
Well, I'd like to get the teeth fixed, really. Now, if the spell for that, I haven't got a wand myself, so I'm stuck really, so I'm depending on others, and then I won't at all. Anyway, I want some new teeth, right?
Where's Stephen? Stephen, we've got a question in the audience.
Hi, Scotty. I've got Shannon here.
If you could keep a prop from the movie, what would it be?
If you could keep a prop from the movie, I think David just answered that question, potentially. David, a prop from the movie. I think you would hold on to those teeth, but Nick, prop from the movie, what would you like to
I
catch?
said this before, that I really, really wanted to keep my costume, because it was so cool. Yeah, the jacket, Adamant meets Poseidon meets Rod Stewart. So I was really, really pleased with so that was great, but I quite like the idea of having a hanging motorcycle.
Oh, the motorcycle.
I think that would be quite, I'd like to do some free, especially the way the freeway's got over here, it'd be great to have.
That is true. All right, let's take another question from the audience. Where is Julia?
I'm right up here, Scotty. I've got Taylor from Philadelphia with me.
Taylor.
If you could go back to any time, like on set, whether you were filming or not, when would it be and why?
Any time that you were filming on set, so maybe something particularly during the filming of the movies. Any time that you like that kind of stuck out in your mind, really have an appreciation for it.
I really enjoyed Voldemort's death. Ray Fiennes is an incredible actor, actually. He died really well. I love
So it wouldn't be too far back in time. That's pretty recent.
it. It was quite recent.
David?
Anything I'm enjoying in the story. I think the Chamber of Secrets, because my daughter joined me on the set. She was one of the school kids, one of the 400 school kids in that film. So we had a couple of weeks together, and she was in quite a few of the scenes in the Great Hall. And I had the scene where as Filch I had to come through the crowd to see my petrified cat, my beloved Mrs. Norris, on the book. I'm thinking that it's Harry who's done it. And when we were filming it, my daughter was there, one of the kids, and Chris Columbus said, which one's your daughter? And I pointed around, and he said to the assistant director, put that lamb girl, put her in the front, right next to where Filch comes through. Started to come through. And,
Nice.
So he placed her there, so I got to the back, and I was ready to come bursting through and say, you murdered my cat, kill you. I was waiting to come through, and just as I was about to start coming through the crowd, I noticed there was quite a tall young man who was also one of the kids. He edged his way in front of her, and I thought, she's not going to be seen. And so I suddenly turned to this ruthless pushing down, and I came pushing, Mike White, and I grabbed him by the scruff of the neck, pulled him to one side, pulled my daughter in with the other arm to make sure she was in the shot. I'm normally a placid guy, you know, and I suddenly turned into this monster. Anyway, but that's what Filch would do, so I figured that's it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that question. Kristen.
We have Nisha from South Florida.
Hello, good morning. Thank you so much for the opportunity of being here. I was wondering, what is one of your most cherished and precious moments and memories from your filming experience? I heard Mr. Bradley, so thank you so much for that one.
One of the moments that really stand out to you.
For me, it's the first day on set properly, because my fall, you know, I did mostly sort of cool, lower budget British indie films. He's old enough to have seen them, or you know, more sort of edgy films. And so, and they're a small affair, you know, but not that you know, films can be great whether they're expensive or done on the cheap, but you know, that's you know, that's my sort of background. So when we first turned up for the first day's filming proper, and it was the night shoot in the woods where Hermione's she's hiding, she's invisible behind the trees, and I can smell her. We did this. First of all, you drive miles into the forest, and it's like there's a spaceship, man. You know, this whole area a mile square is lit. Barrage balloons and a light that they put a mile away to illuminate this place. It's amazing. When you get out of the car, there's like 500 vehicles, you know, trailers, Winnebagos, all of this stuff. It's something you pay for. And then you get your hair and makeup on, and everyone's very friendly. And I'm sort of thinking, this is much bigger than I'm used to. Right. And then you get into another car, into another Jeep, and you drive into the inner sanctum, which is about a mile away, and then there's another it's huge. The scale of it was terrifying. And then the last journey is a walk. Don't know, you would like to go to point one now. Is a walk. It's the 50-yard stroll into the woods, and there's just me and Emma and the director, and a Steadicam, which is a camera which is held so that the camera rolls on the handheld system handheld. So the actual thing was something I could deal with, you know, I could deal with just the acting bit. But the rest of it was so hugely intimidating. So my fondest memory is that scale and size of, wow, this is the biggest film in the world. And I was terrified by it. And when you actually get on the shop floor, toe to toe, you're just acting. It's exactly the same as if you were doing a smaller film. It's all about, you know, what goes on. So yeah, that was my biggest memory.
That's great, thank you. Stan, anything stand out as far as your participation?
Yes, I'm sure you all remember that you were born. I remember being on set, and that was right before Christmas. And everyone was really nicely dressed up. The Great Hall was all made in, you know, icicles and cakes, and we had drinks and everything. And you know, the preparation that went in before we actually went to the set, all the dance, my dance with Emma. And I was really watching out not to step on her feet. So this is definitely a memory I would, you know, have with myself forever, probably. Because it was also pretty much everyone's last day of filming the fourth film. So we had the best time, we gained a few pounds, we had a fantastic time, and, you know, finished there.
Great, thank you very much. All right, we're going to take a question from Facebook, who has over 36 million friends for this for the Harry Potter movies, and Milan is with us. Milan, what's the question?
This comes from Nadia G. She wants to ask, how did you celebrate after the last day of filming for the last film?
You know, we didn't really celebrate because we actually did. We had a huge wrap party that was some months, probably 2 months after the filming had finished. And where we shot at the Harry Potter series was an old Rolls-Royce aero engine factory called Leeson, an old airfield. And we used the runway as the party venue. We had a big stage, we had live music, we had a fun fair, and we had Jarvis Cocker as a DJ. Who's someone you've probably never heard of over here, but actually he's great in England. It felt good because there was enough distance between finishing filming and the party itself for people just to have a good time and get back together and have a great time.
There was, to my knowledge, just being in the last couple of films, you know, this is something I can talk about, there was about a dozen last days, wasn't there? There was like, this is the last day of filming. Apart from the little pickup shop in the underwater scenes. And then, no, this is the last day of filming. We've got the bridge Shuki running across the bridge, but that's the absolute last day. And there's another last day of filming. We just realised we've got to get the twins to pick up them. You know, so there, it's sort of, as they were taking the studio apart and packing stuff away or putting things in the museum, there wasn't really a finite last day. There was always little bits and pieces, which was great. So I think everybody seems to think that they were on the last day of filming without any the cast. But I can't emphasise how big the rap party was. David's not really doing it justice. There was a full, it was like a theme park. They built this full-size fun fair with rides and a huge dance floor, and it rained, which was a bit of a shame.
It did rain, it always rains.
There was a rock and roll venue, you know, the band's playing. It was huge, you know, and everybody took their partners and their kids, and it went on all day. So it was, and it started at like midday and went on to the dark. So it was a fabulous thing. There will never be a better rap party than that. So not really a last day, but a really good party.
All right, thank you for that question. Brian.
Thanks, Scott. We have Rybeth here from Maryland.
I have a question for Stan. What was it like to work on the Tri-Wizard tournament and to be in it with the rest of them?
Great question.
Oh, that's a fantastic question. It was immaculate. As I said, we had a lot of time to prepare for each thing, and I was scared of deep waters. I really was. And when I was told I had to jump from the 10-meter line into, you know, from the boat, the scene was actually cut out, but it was in the extras. I had to jump from the boat into the ice and dive into that black deep water. And when I found out, I was like, oh my god, no way. You know, I wanted all the fans to see and believe that Krum is a champion and he's the best boy from Jones, right? So I did my best to train. And as I said, honestly. But then the maze, I had a scene where, you know, the fight with Rob, very good friend of mine, where I get zapped and I get thrown back, and I was told, oh, you know, you're going to stand it to a stunt guy. And I said, no, please, let me do that myself. Because I thought they were going to show me on screen, and I wanted to be on screen myself. So they put this harness on me, and I did the stunt, and I slammed into the ground, and I was like dizzy, and whoa. And no, as if this wasn't enough, Mike said, okay, let's get a close-up on your head, banging onto the ground. So I did this like 15 times, and I was absolutely gone at the end.
Great question. Thank you. Stephen.
I've got Camille from California.
Hi, Camille.
Hi, Nick, I was wondering if you could say your famous line, and then I wanted to know if the cast, what was the funniest thing that happened on set or a story?
What you want me to say is, hello, beautiful. That's a good line. I've used it, you know, in other circumstances.
He said it to me when we first met.
That's how I got the job. He said that in the audition. And the funniest thing, the silliest thing for me is when we did the costume thing, I chose a pair of boots that looked really cool, that were actually Gary Oldman's old boots. I thought, but they're zip-up things, and they're actually from All Saints, which is like a girls' store. So they're like sort of size 9 girls, but they look really cool. You know? But when we're running through the forest, I'm wearing a pair of slippery soled leather shoes, and I just couldn't control myself. I'm running everywhere. And I look around with all the other stunt guys who've got really like, you know, hiking boots on, and they're running around. There was quite a few times I just went with no control, skidding through the mud into a tree or went tripping over. So there was a couple of times, there was one really good shot, it's in an outtake somewhere, where we run down the hill. Another really exciting point was when we attacked Hogwarts, leading a charge, you think it's going to be a green screen when you read that in the script, you know, we stood in front of the green screen. But when I got out of the car, there's 3,500 extras, all costume, and I've got my own army, which is great. So we did that, I think one of the first takes, and it's really exciting. It's the middle of the night, raining, and it's freezing, we're attacking Hogwarts, charging down this hill. And again, I'm in these girly shoes. And I just caught my foot on one of the wires, went up, and David shouts, cut. You notice how they shout cut, and then someone says, is he all right? So yeah, that was my funny anecdote.
David Bradley, any moments stand out as far as something that was just a really funny moment for you?
I had a moment in Goblet of Fire. The direction was Filch enters the Great Hall and hurries up the aisle to give a message. And I get invited to schools a lot and to open faith and garden house, whatever, and I always get asked to do it. And the young lady here on the front row, I said at the party last night, are you going to do the run? I said, no way! And she says, go on, I dare you. So here goes.
As long as we will remember these movies, that image will never, ever leave our minds. That's so funny. So funny. I just watched the movie again the other night, and I thought it was so hysterically funny that when everything is done and all you see is rubble everywhere, you're like in the back with a broom in a 2-foot area. You know, you're just kind of constantly sweeping this area, and then it's like you kind of stand up and you look around and you're like, that area, I was like, he's gonna have his hands full for quite some time now coming up. But it is a tough question, this Bogger question, because there's spells you would like, and there's things that you'd like to take home, but it's like using your imagination to think of that. I mean, does anything come to mind?
I don't like public speaking, actually, so being on a stage in front of 20,000 people, actually, that guy would probably be my Bogger.
Thank you so much for participating in David's Sphere, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take another question. Where's Ryan?
Right here we have Aiden from North Carolina.
What was your favorite ride at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, and what was your favorite drink?
All right, favorite. Good question, buddy. Good question. Favorite ride at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter?
Well, another one, actually, one of my fears, my Bogger could have been a roller coaster, actually, because I am terrified of roller coasters. But I did go on the main attraction because David Heyman, the other producer, and I were involved with the park from the beginning, and so I went bit by bit. We went on the ride. If it's 4 minutes long, we did sort of 30 seconds, and then went back to the start because it wasn't completed. So I kind of broke myself in, but I ended up really enjoying that ride. But I just am too scared to go on the others, so that one, only that one could be my favourite. I haven't been on that one. And I like butterbeer. The butterbeer is quite sweet, actually. I can only drink a very small amount, but it's when I drink a small amount, I really like it. That's my favourite drink.
Excellent. Stan, do you have a favorite ride? This being your first time here to see the Wizarding World?
Yes. I liked the Tri-Wizard, the Dragons ride.
Okay.
My favorite one is the red one. So that was the ride, and then the drink would be frozen butterbeer.
Frozen. All right. Very good. Great question. Let's go to Stephen.
Hi there, I've got Christine from Wiki Watching, Florida.
Hello, I'm so grateful to be here because probably like everyone else, I'm almost suffering from Harry Potter withdrawal. I've watched movies again 3 times just to get another Harry Potter fix. But my question is, it seems so smooth from this side of the fence. I wondered how the cast struggled with the changes in directorship, how you changed from one way of learning from one person to the next, and how you did it so easily.
I only had the one director. I think the important thing to realise, and everybody has said this, but it's because it's true. This is a film that's bigger than the sum of its parts, and its parts are really, really big. So you have, without doubt, certainly the best actors in Britain and among the best actors in the world, all involved in this project. I get the call sheet and I'm on the same day as Maggie Smith and Emma Thompson and Ray Fiennes and Gary Oldman. These amazing actors. But when you get onto the shop floor, they're all as much in awe of the project as anyone else. I remember with that scene, we spent about a week shooting the scene at Malcolm Manor with me and Helena Bonham Carter became really good mates because there's a lot of hanging about. Actually, I've got to tell you a little anecdote. Helena's batting, right? She's fantastic. She's batting. So we turn up for what you call a line-up. So before the lights are rigged up, before technically it's all set, the actors get onto the set with the director, and the director will talk you through the scene, and then you'll play the scene out and you do what you call blocking, where you move around, or I move over here, so Harry will be over there, or you've got Hermione under your arms. So we blocked the scene out, and Helena had these shoes on, with these great big springs in the heels. And I said to her, do you wear your character's shoes for when you're doing blocking, so you get an idea of it? No, darling, these are mine, I got them in Mexico. So she actually had her own shoes, she turned up with shoes. Great big springs on. It's hilarious. But I was talking to her saying about this film. I said, you must be more used to this. Oh no, darling, this is by far the biggest film I've ever. Well, you're Helena Bonham Carter. You're married to Tim Burton. She's still the biggest set she's ever been on. Is Harry Potter. So everybody, all of these amazing actors. They're all humbled by the size of it, by the scale of it. And the same with the directors. Everybody is just trying to make it do their part. This massive, wonderful machine. So no ego, no, absolutely none. There's no, this my coffee's too cold, you know, just laugh at it, try to do that. And I think that's what, the transition between the different directors, everybody is just working with something that's much bigger than them. And it starts at the top, to be honest. No one else has said this, but it starts with the producers. It starts with the two Davids. There's no egos, you know. They're not showing off. They don't turn up in limos or Learjets. You know, everybody goes to work and does their best they possibly can to make the film as good as it can be. So, because there's no egos, there's no transition problems. There's never an issue with anybody. It's just that it's a great day the day you get the phone call saying you're going to be in Harry Potter. The only day that's better than that is when you turn up on set and realise it's going to be a joy.
Thank you, Nick. All right, let's go to Julia.
All right, I've got Brendan and Katie from Wisconsin.
Brendan and Katie.
Hi guys, thanks for being here. On set, behind the scenes, did anyone pull pranks on each other?
What jokes were they?
Any pranks?
Well, I'm not sure we can actually tell you what they were, but the biggest prank of all was Sir Michael Gambon. He's an incredible storyteller, a man with a real twinkle in his eye, who I don't think ever once told the truth in all the time he was there.
Anything said out as far as pranks or practical jokes that were played on any of the cast?
Well, speaking of Michael Gambon, we had a scene where myself and Alan Rickman had to prowl through the hall because I think, was it Dementos were about to attack the place and all the kids were sleeping in the hall and they had little camp beds. There were hundreds of these kids all pretending to be asleep while we were prowling through. And Gambon was there, and what he had in his pocket was a little remote control contraption. And unbeknownst to Daniel, he placed this remote control fart machine under his pillow. And he kept setting it off, and at first people were like, where's that coming from? And after about the third moment, Daniel realised that everybody was looking and laughing at him. He was going, Daniel, having had too much to eat at lunch, but and he jumped up. I wish they'd got it on the outtake, because it's been brilliant. But that's Michael. He's always doing stuff like that.
That's great, thank you. All right, let's go to Kristen.
Yes, we have Sylvia from Orlando.
Sylvia.
Hi, thank you so much for everything. It's just more than I can ever imagine. Thank you. And my question was, what is the best acting lesson or tip that you learned from filming Harry Potter?
Well, that's an interesting question because there's so many young actors that kind of came into the fold into this, and I'm sure some of them was their first experience. So maybe you as an actor, maybe what you offered as a tip, and maybe what you maybe learned yourself while being on set.
I think it is that, as I said earlier, it's just that there's no excuse for egos. If anybody starts behaving like they're the lead, they're the prima donna, then they're wrong. You know, and Daniel is such a nice guy. He's such a down-to-earth, decent chap, you know. And if he doesn't behave like that, then what excuse is anyone else got to behave like that? So I think the thing that I learned for life is you've got no excuse to show off, no excuse to behave like you're better than anybody else, you know, and that's a wonderful, as an actor, you come in at a humble level of humility, then you'll never go too far wrong. If you start up here behaving like you're in charge, then you've got nothing to learn. You come in at a very low level and you'll learn everything. And I think that's particularly relevant to this whole project.
I think that's an overall great theme, because we were having a discussion on that kind of yesterday on how when the actors kind of come into the scene, they come into it with, this is more of a family environment first, and we're going to kind of feed and learn off of each other. You're right, there is no real room for egos, and it seems like the best advice that was given didn't really have to do with an acting style or an acting technique. It was how you come into it from your own personality and the way that you view, the world around you. So
I think that's really true, and also it was a lesson in generosity too, because all the older actors, when they were starting off with Dan Reaper and Emma and Tom Felton and all the younger cast were kids. And they weren't actors, they were kids. And some people you might have expected to get a bit cross with kids who didn't know how to do what they should do. They didn't know the craft of acting at that point. But the older cast was so generous with the younger cast. And then in turn, I think Dan was the most generous of all. Because as he became a real leader on the set, and when new people, whether it was in front of the camera or behind the camera, turned up, he always did his absolute best to make them feel at home. And I think that was because the older cast was so generous at the beginning, the younger cast learned that same generosity as they went through.
Just kind of making this part of that time there. So yes, does deserve a round of applause, absolutely. Okay, we have time for one more question. And I know we've got Ryan. Yes, Ryan.
Thank you, Scott. We have Kara from Texas here.
Hi, Kara.
When you started going to Harry Potter, did you ever know it would turn out this big?
Great question.
We had absolutely no idea. We all enjoyed the books that have been published, and we hoped to make a very good film. I wasn't actually there for the first film. I joined on the second film, and at that point, the first one was still in post-production. It was still being edited. It hadn't been released, so nobody knew whether you, the fans, would respond well to it. And all we could try and do was just make the very best film we could, and hope that you would like it. So nobody had any idea. It wasn't until we got to the end of the fourth film that we even had any real idea that we'd go on to make films of all the books. Because by that time, I think the sixth book had been published, had been hugely well received, and the previous films had been very well received. So it gave everyone the confidence to think that we could move ahead to the end. But before that, we had no idea.
It's quite the opposite to normally when you get those sequel films. If you look at Jaws, Jaws wins an Oscar, breaks all box office records, Steven Spielberg was amazing, great. Jaws 2, that's a bit of it. Jaws 3D is terrible. Jaws 4 is rubbish, So I thought what was so amazing when you do revisit the films, even though the first film's great, the second one's better. And then they start getting darker and technically better, and even like groundbreaking visual effects and things that haven't been seen before or done before. And then by the time you get to the last ones, by the time you get to the last three, it's amazing. It's broken boundaries, and I don't think there's been a series of films where everybody said, right, we've been the biggest film in the world that year. Let's make it even better. Let's try even harder. Let's try and push it. What I thought was admirable is that this is the only time where no one's ever gone, oh, it'll be okay. You never heard that on set. Anybody oh, that'll do. It was always about pushing it further and further. So I think that's why it worked.
Well, thank you so much. We definitely appreciate all of your time for being here. David, Stan, and of course David Brown. Let's give a big round of applause.